What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Yeah, I've got another crazy contraption here. I know you're thinking, what in the world has he done now? So I have made a tractor crane. So yeah, I'm sure you've seen some of these online. A few other people have made some, and they actually sell some things that go in the front of your forks. But this is stuff I had laying around. I had a particular project I'm going to show you here that we wanted to try to accomplish, and I said, what the heck, I'll just see if I can put something together and I'll make one. So this was I think this is like a 2-inch pipe that I had laying out there at one of the old barns, and so I welded that into a square tube here and got it where you can slide the pipe in the tube and, you know, take it in and out with a pin here if you need to pull it out. And this is just some scrap metal I had laying around. I wish now if I had it do over, see, the one fork slides in here, and then I've got 2 set screws you might have saw in the intro there that you tighten down on it so it can't slide around. And I've got a stop on the end here so the fork won't come out in the end. But and I added this extra brace here just so it wasn't putting so much stress on one fork. But obviously you got to be careful when you're doing something like this, because, you know, the longer you get out there, then the more stress and everything you put on the pallet forks, the loader, the tractor, and everything. So this is not for no real super heavy stuff. We're going to be doing some limb trimming over a barn here that we were worried about, a dying tree, the limb falling on the barn. This would also be for maybe if you're working on a roof and you needed to get some tin up on the roof. Up at my home place, I've got a couple of barns that are pretty tall, and so it's difficult to try to drag stuff up there with a ladder, plywood, 2x4s, whatever you might be needing to do a repair or whatever. As you can see, I got a couple of extra accessories here that I can strap onto the end of the boom crane here. You know, a little block there with you can put a rope through, a cable, another hook there. This is one of those little things like if you were lifting up a piece of plywood or tin, you know, little jaws open up, and then as you lift on it, you know, it squeezes and compresses. So that would be good for getting stuff up on a roof. But yeah, and you can see I got the come along here just as a sort of like a guide wire to you know, I can ratchet down on that and then tighten it up so it's not so bouncy and it's not so you know, flexible or whatever, and not put such a strain on the fork itself when if you get something on there that has got a little more weight to it. And I just welded a, you know, a hook on the end here for the little guide wire, and then I got the big hook here with a couple different holes and for the different kinds of attachments that you saw there. So in this case, we're going to hook this strap on the limb and then you know, cut it, and, you know, it's over the roof. We don't want it to fall. Here's the pin that I've got 2 extensions that I'll show you in a second that go in here, slide in here about 2 foot or so, and then you pin it in here with this pin. Yeah, so right here, as I was mentioning before, I've got 2 extensions that slide into the other pipe, and then with a pin, see, I got holes in here that'll pin it into the other pipe. And so this gives me a 6-foot extension, you know, and I've got a little hook welded on the end of that, and then this gives me a 10-foot extension. As I was saying, obviously you got to be really careful, because, you know, the more you extend this thing out, you know, the more pressure you're going to put on the tractor and the loader and everything, and you know, less weight you'd be able to put. But this gives you, you know, the ability to get out there a little longer if you need to, you know, put something up on top of a barn or get a limb that's way up high. So as we can see here, this gives us close to 17 feet with the main tube on there, and then, you know, adding a 6-foot extension or a 10-foot extension, we can get you know, either 23 or 27 feet. But that doesn't count the lift height of the loader. So that's, I think, probably, if you had it all the way up, close to 8 feet, between 7 and 8 feet. So it allows you to get on out there a good stretch. But there again, got to be super cautious. The farther you get out, the more stress you put on. So if you get out there on the longer extension, you want to make sure you're not putting, you know, I would be afraid to put over, you know, I don't know, maybe 100, 200 pounds. I'm not sure, but you could definitely cause some damage if you're not careful. So yeah, right here we've got a dying box elder tree. We've already done some cutting on this, and I'll be honest, I had some more video footage, or I thought I had some more video footage. what happened when you don't hit the record button on the camera, and whatever. But I do have one of the limbs. I have a little bit of footage of that. The biggest thing is how to get this thing connected to the limb when it's when it's way up there. I got like a 14-foot pole saw that I can cut the limbs, but obviously you got to get it connected to try not. In this case, we didn't want the limb to slam into the roof of the barn, so we kind of connected it back up at the large end. The light or branch end of the limb fell on the end of the barn, but that's not a concern. So yeah, you can see up here this tree is definitely dying. We've already had one limb right here that fell during a windstorm out where Spencer's truck is. So we're just trying to avoid it falling on somebody's car, or in this case, like I said, that limb up there was a lot larger. We didn't want to smash the barn. So I'm going to show you how this works. We got that limb right over the barn there, so we're going to hook up a strap to it, and I'm going to cut it as Spencer drives the tractor, and we're going to keep it from falling on the barn, and just easily lower it down with the crane. So we'll get set up and show you what it looks like. All right, back on up with it. Pretty good. Back up. Alright folks, so there you have it. Hope that gave you a little bit of a demonstration where that comes in handy. You know, obviously you want to tighten up on it so when you make that cut, the log or the limb doesn't come crashing onto the roof with any slack there. But yeah, you just gotta, and there again, this stuff here is not real heavy because you can see it's dead. Just fortunate that it hadn't already fell on the barn. But anyway, we're gonna take care of cutting the rest of this and just let it fall and get it with the grapple. But comes in very handy for something you might need to do up on a roof, or trimming some trees, limbs that you don't want to fall on something and damage it. Works out pretty good. So all right, thanks for joining me. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.